Hi everyone, I'm the CRM Ninja and welcome to another episode of The Oops Factor. Tonight I am joined by Dilyana Radulova, or as she's better known in the community as Didi. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, good. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. Been a busy day, but otherwise going well. It's great to have you on the show. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
Before
you.
we, it's absolutely my pleasure. It's really great to see people from the community, coming on. Obviously, there are some big names that have been on and others coming on, but that people feel comfortable in sharing their own stuff is really great. So before we get started about your oops factor, I know that when people look at you, they think, on first impression, you're quiet and reserved and, wouldn't harm a fly. But I understand that you have quite an interesting hobby. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so I like kicking people in the head for fun.
You like kicking people in the head for fun.
But I
Okay.
think that's quite normal for a consultant, I would say, because you have to be really nice and polite 9 to 5. So the only logical thing to do after that is not to be.
Okay, fine. I thought you meant you were kicking people in the head as a consultant.
No, that's a, that's 9 to 5. Kicking
Okay.
people in the head is after 5.
Is after 5. Although if you could consult on kicking people in the head, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, but I do that anyway. I do some teaching as well. And that's
Ah,
probably one of the hardest thing that I have ever done, much harder than anything work related.
got it. So for people who are wondering what this is all about, Didi actually is a first dan black belt in Taekwondo. So it's not that she just goes around kicking things, but she's actually trained to do so before you start thinking the wrong impression.
I probably should have started with that. Yeah, thank you for
That's
explaining that.
fine. How did you get into Taekwondo in the first place?
Oh, well, I wasn't allowed to, so obviously I was going to do it.
By your
Yeah,
parents or?
for 2 years, my mom said I wasn't allowed to because they would break my nose. And
Right.
then I went and they broke my nose. So it was over with. So it was fine.
Did your mother say, I told you so?
She might have, yep.
As a child, I used to build platform out of large pipes and stuff. They're kids' toys. And my mother turned around to me and said, if you keep jumping off, you're going to break something. I'm like, ha ha, no way. And I broke my arm on the next jump. Thankfully, she was nice enough to take me to hospital. So
Mums always know best.
they do indeed. Having said that, dads can know best sometimes as well. Just want to put this out there. I have two little ones, and sometimes they say, Daddy, you're right. It's
Yeah.
it's sweet. So let's talk about your oops factor. What would you have to share with
Let's
us?
let's talk about my oops factor. So before I share my story, I just want to say that I deeply regret my story. I don't want people to take the wrong impression.
Okay.
So, yep, just putting it out there. So what happened? Just to give you background and set the scenes of what my 17-year-old ego was thinking. So I was quite good at everything. I was very good at school. I went to competitions. I won stuff. So I just assumed everything I'll do first time, and it will just work. Because
Right. I think
why
most
would
17-year-olds can be like that, right?
why would I not assume that? Because that had always been the case before then. So it was the normal thing to assume.
I mean, look, if you look at this logically, if you plot each point as a data point, you've been successful, then the curve continues at you being successful at things, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But there we go. Now we get the up story. So 17-year-old, I decide I'm going to start driving or at least learn how to drive. So I go to my first driving lesson, 45 minutes, go home crying, super frustrated, not even disappointed, just frustrated that I didn't get it the first time because I get things the first time. Why would driving be different?
Right.
Yep. So I go home very upset. Why did it not work? And then I have a very supportive family. They always want to help, and they have always believed in me. They always think that practice makes perfect, and we can just get it to work if we practice.
It's a very good sort of family environment to be in.
It was very healthy for most things. It was very healthy. So so next day we decide we'll take the family car and we'll go for a ride. I'll be driving because
With you driving.
with me driving after 45 minutes of one driving lesson, because practice
How
makes
many?
perfect.
Of course. Out of curiosity, how many of your family was in the car with you?
As I said, I wasn't proud with my own story. So it was my mom and my brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So we go into the car, and luckily we don't live in a busy neighborhood. It's a very quiet neighborhood. It's a very long road, straight road. When you if you go right, you go onto another quite quiet road. If you go straight, it's a dead end and it's a schoolyard at the end of
Okay.
it. Yeah. So we go in the car, and because it's a long road, I start to gain speed, and it starts to feel good because speed is good, right? And
Speed is excellent. I have a motorbike. I've done skydiving. I revel in speed and adrenaline. Yep.
yeah, you know how speed makes you feel. So
Yep.
I'm starting to feel good, and then it's coming very close to the point where I have to turn right. After 45 minutes of learning how to drive the day before, I'm not exactly in control. And then a cyclist appears, and I didn't like being close to other moving things on the road. So what my brain decided is, you're not turning right. You don't want to be close to other moving things. So he goes right, he's fine, but that meant I had to stay on the road. So I kept on driving forward, but it's a dead end street. And then
Okay.
because we're going quite quickly, the dead end is very, very quickly approaching. So that's when I realized I really need to stop. That's when my mom and my brother start panicking because they also want me to stop.
Right. So everybody
So
wants the car to stop at this point.
yeah, at
Okay.
least we want the same thing.
Good.
We,
You're on the same
we
page. That's
we
good.
we just want the car to stop, and I know that if you want to stop, you press the brake. So I start pressing what I perceived as the brakes pedal, and the car wasn't slowing down, never mind stopping, it wasn't even slowing down.
Okay. Out of curiosity, was this a manual car with
Yes.
gears or an automatic?
Yeah, it was yeah, but I was pressing the clutch, I didn't get the
Right.
pedals right.
I
And
just wanted to
pressing,
make sure because obviously in some places
yeah,
in the world, America is much more used to automatic cars rather than geared cars. So you only have a choice of two pedals, but for geared cars, you have the third one being the clutch.
I'm pretty sure I would have got it wrong with two pedals as well. But I had three. I chose the wrong one, pressing the clutch. Not only not stopping, no slowing down.
Right.
The school is approaching, and then everybody's shouting. I panicked. That didn't help with the clutch and the brake.
No.
No, it didn't. And then we crashed. So we felt the impact. Well, I felt the impact.
Right.
We went we went into the schoolyard. I don't really remember whether we stopped because my mom must have put the handbrake or because I have got the pedals right. I don't know what
Okay.
happened. Something happened. We stopped.
You stopped.
We stopped. The car
Okay.
wasn't very well. I chipped in to get it sorted as well because it was the decent thing to do after being super irresponsible.
Right.
So it was fine in the end. Nobody was hurt. Um,
Good.
but
It's
just think
reassuring.
it is reassuring, but just thinking about it makes me so stressed, and it's really disappointing, the fact that I did it. And even when it's not a work situation, I think I wanted to share it with people because I think it's super applicable to things we do at work as well,
Yeah.
because everybody perceives confidence to be that great thing and that we need more of. I'm not really convinced. Sometimes it could be so dangerous if it's not handled with care. So I think acting confidently could be just as dangerous as not acting confidently.
So, of course, there's the fact that we go into clients and we need to be confident and self assured because we're selling the product and they think that we're God's gift to man in terms of technology and we know everything that we're
Yeah,
doing. There's also being overconfident with it, which is a line that you don't want to cross. But sometimes you can be so confident in yourself. I guess this is the sort of story that I'm coming out from you, that you don't want to admit that maybe you just don't have that or have it to that point, and therefore that can cause risks to occur and problems.
absolutely. I think my ego wasn't ready to accept the fact that sometimes patience is a better way to get things rather than just do them again and again. And
Very
I think
true.
that's one of the very important lessons that I think I was quite lucky to learn quite early in life, one
Yes,
way or another.
I agree with that. So when you go on projects now, how do you ensure how do you sort of manage that confidence factor?
I don't think I have ever, as we saw, I haven't had problems with confidence. Trying to tone it down, I think he started to come natural after this because it was kind of stressful.
Right.
So I think now I always have that idea that it's okay to take your time sometimes. It's okay to say, I need to spend a bit more time thinking about it. So I think now on projects, it's more the fact that I know other young people would be in my position. So what
Yeah.
I struggle more with is how to help others not be
Got it.
overly confident and not act with their ego, but just think it through a bit more.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing the story. Really
Anytime.
appreciate
I
it.
hope people don't judge me too much.
Look, we all have our own stuff. I have my own stories of that. I actually learned to drive in a manual car, geared car. My first thing in an automatic car when I was abroad with friends in the car. We're going and it had been snowing and I needed to brake. And I'm very used to a gear car whereby, you put your foot on the clutch, left foot on the clutch, right foot on the brake. You do it together. You make sure the clutch goes down before the brake because then you disengage the gear. And I put both feet on the brake pedal because it was an automatic and it was a rather large brake pedal. And we emergency stopped with several of my friends in the car who wanted them to get out because they felt that it was rather an abrupt stop. Which
Probably it was.
it well, let's just say the car had good brakes and stopped very swiftly. Yes,
At
it was
least you
good.
had your driving license at that point.
I did. I have plenty of other stories about driving, but not going to mention them now. And definitely some of them are not for recorded sessions such as this. But we could talk, when over drinks or something at some point. So
Definitely.
before you go, and I recently started asking this, is there anybody who you would recommend to come on the show that I could ask about their Oops Factor story?
So why don't we speak with Mark Christie? I think he would be a good person
So Mark
with
would
a
be a
lot of
good
oops
person. And in
stories.
fact, I was talking to him over the weekend and he's already agreed to come on the show.
Oh.
Yes, he heard your description, how eager you were to come on and thought, well, if Diddy's eager, then he's got to be eager as well. So as he hasn't come on yet, I'll keep that as a valid submission for it and we can take that off.
I
Yes.
was already prepared that you would say it doesn't count because he's already agreed. So why don't we ask Ian Connolly?
Okay, no problem. I will reach out to Ian. Might ask you to, assist with that, but we can do that.
He might be a bit surprised, just saying.
Nah, I don't think anybody's surprised. People are really sort of enjoying hearing the stories of others and sharing their own stuff. There's just so much out there where people talk about all the good stuff and really very little where people can share when things don't go quite right.
Own the
Anyhow,
mistake is the best hashtag for this series.
I agree. Maybe I should have called the series that. I was sort of basically, we got the X Factor here in the UK and a variety of, and I thought, ooh, the Oops Factor. Who knows?
I like the Oops Factor too. We can have a hashtag for that as well.
So I did actually focus test on a small number of a small group of people, the name, the Oops Factor, and they thought it was good, which is why I went for it. It wasn't just the mind thing. I'm not that creative in terms of that.
No, Oops Factor is pretty cool too.
Good. But yeah, Own the Mistake. Yeah, I think I'm going to start including that in it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Didi.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. For everybody watching, we hope you've enjoyed this. Please feel free to watch the rest of the playlist with other episodes. Subscribe to the channel where you can see upcoming episodes as and when they're released and some of the other material that I'm talking about. At the moment, I'm doing a lot on omnichannel and stuff on my blog. And if you yourself would like to come on the show, hit the link below, fill in the form with your details, and I'll drop you a line to book you in. Hope you have a great day. Take care.
See you later. Bye.